Hey everyone, today we are continuing with our unit on angles, and today we're also going to continue with complementary angles. So yesterday you were solving complementary angles numerically, which just meant you were taking 90 and subtracting the value of the angle that you had to find the value of the missing angle. Well, today we're going to solve for missing complementary angles algebraically, which means we're going to be using an algebraic equation, which is why I had you guys review how to solve two-step and multi-step equations the other day. So we need to remember that complementary angles are adjacent angles that add up to 90 degrees. So adjacent angles just meant that they were two angles that were right next to each other. They typically share this common side, and together they equaled 90 degrees. And remember, degree is our unit of measurement for angles. So we're going to jump right into some model examples. So I have three model examples that I'm going to do in this video, and then there are three other examples that you are going to complete. So if we look at model example 1, we're going to go through this one together, and then right below that, you're going to see a you do example 2. This example 2 looks very similar to the model example right before it. So you're going to use the model example to help you solve the you do examples. Then you'll look at the example model number 3, and the you do example number 4 looks very similar to the model example right before it, so you'll use that model example to help you. Okay, and the same with a model example 5 and the you do example 6, and they're color coded to show you which model will help you answer which question. All right, so let's look at example 1 here. Here I have a complementary angle. And again, I know this is a picture of a complementary angle because I have this little square in the corner, which tells me it's a right angle, which means that it equals 90 degrees. So this large right angle right here is separated into two angles, angle ABD and angle DBC. Those are two angles. Now I know the measure of this angle right here is equal to 60 degrees because it says it. But I need to figure out the angle measure of BDC, which is labeled 2x plus 6. So it's not just labeled with one variable, it's labeled with an expression. I got to figure out what this angle is equal to, and we do that by making an algebraic equation. So what we do here is we take the two angles and we add them together, and we set them equal to 90 degrees because I know together they have to be equal to 90 degrees. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the first angle, which I always like to use the first angle as the one that has the variable in it. So my first angle I'm going to write in this box here, and that angle is 2x plus 6. I know that sounds kind of strange, but that's what they labeled this angle to be, okay? So the angle is 2x plus 6, and my second angle is 60 degrees. And again, I added them together to equal 90 degrees because they're complementary, okay? So my equation reads 2x plus 6 plus my second angle, which is 60, has to equal 90 degrees. So I just filled that in the first row here like you guys did in the review, okay? So now I need to solve this equation for x. All right, and I have the steps out here for you to show you or to remind you how to solve this equation. So this is an example of a multi-step equation because after I plug in the both angles, I have to combine like terms. Remember, when we combine like terms, take the sign in front of the term with it because that's what tells you if the numbers are positive or negative. So 2x does not have any like terms here, so I'm simply going to bring down that 2x. Okay, now I'm combining my next set of like terms, which is positive 6 and positive 60. So I'm adding 6 plus 60, which gives me 66. So I write 66 in that box, and I bring down that equals 90. Okay, after I combine like terms, I have a simple two-step equation that I need to solve. So our step 3 is to subtract the constant from both sides of our equation. Okay, so I'm going to subtract the 66 on both sides. Okay, I'm going to bring down the 2x. The 66's are going to cancel, and I have to clean this up here. So 90 minus 66 is equal to 24. Okay, which now brings me to step 4. I know I'm not done because my variable is not all by itself yet. It has a 2x in front of it. That 2x is being multiplied by the x. I got to do the opposite of multiplying by 2. And the opposite of multiplying by 2 is to divide both sides by 2. So I'm dividing both sides of my equation by 2. Okay, 2x divided by 2 is x, and then 24 divided by 2 is 12. So we get x is equal to 12, which is absolutely correct. However, I did not find what this angle is equal to yet, because notice this angle is not just labeled x, it is labeled 2x plus 6. So I have to find the measure of that missing angle. And if you look in these boxes here, that's what we're going to do. So I want to find the measure of angle CBD, which again is equivalent to 2x plus 6. So I now know what the value of x is. X is equal to 12. So I'm going to take that 12 and plug it into this expression where I see x to determine the value of that angle. So I take the 2. I'm now, instead of writing x, I'm going to plug in 12 because I know x is equal to 12. And then I'm going to add 6. Remember, when we plug in a number, boys and girls, the 2 and the x are being multiplied together. So if you want, you can put the little dot in for multiplication. You can put the x for multiplication, or I always put it in parentheses to represent the multiplication. Okay, I'd be careful with the x because the x is our variable in this example. Okay, now I have to solve this. Now I have to evaluate this. Remember, when we're evaluating, we have to follow the correct order of operations, PEMDAS. Or if you guys do have a scientific calculator, you could plug this in right away. You just have to remember to plug in the parentheses to get the right answer. Okay, so the order of operations tells me I first have to look for parentheses. I have parentheses, but I don't have anything inside the parentheses, so now I go down to exponents. I don't have any exponents. Okay, now I go to multiplication. I have multiplication. This 2 and the 12 are being multiplied together, so I have to do that first. Okay, so 2 times 12 is 24. Then my next step would be to divide, but I don't have any division. Then my next step would be to add. I do have an addition sign, so I need to add 24 plus 6, which gives us 12. So the measure of that missing angle, boys and girls, is 30 degrees. Okay, it's not 12 degrees. We had to evaluate this expression when x is equal to 12. Okay, and then the measure of angle ABD, I gave it to you. You don't have to do any fancy work there. It's just equal to 60. Okay? All right. So now you guys are going to do the you do example, which looks almost identical to the model example. Okay, so use this to help you. Okay, don't forget to evaluate for your 2 angles at the bottom in the boxes. Okay, now model example number 3. The difference with this example is the fact that I have variables in both of these angles. All right, so just going to require a couple more steps. So I again have a complementary angle. I have 2 angles that have to add up to be 90 degrees. This is my first angle, 4x minus 45, and my second angle is 1x. Yes, you can just write x. That's fine. Okay, so my equation, I have to add these 2 angles together. So my first angle is that entire expression, 4x minus 45, and then plus 1x. And that has to equal 90 degrees because they're complementary. All right, so now I'm going to fill in this first row here. My first angle, which is shown right here, is 4x minus 45. Oops, not 25. Okay, now I have to add my second angle. My second angle is right here, which is 1x. All right, and again, it's equal to 90 degrees. Okay, again, I have a multi-step equation because my step 2 is to combine like terms here. All right, my like terms are 4x. I'm going to highlight this, 4x and 1x. Again, I need to look at the sign in front of the terms to determine if it's positive or negative. The 4x is positive and the 1x is positive, so I'm adding positive 4x plus positive 1x, which gives me 5x. Okay? Now, this 45 is negative, and it does not have any like terms here. It is negative because there's a subtraction sign in front of it. Remember, subtraction signs are negative signs, which is why I changed this to a minus sign. So I'm writing in minus 45. You do not have to put a minus sign in this box because I have it written for you. Okay, so now my two-step equation is 5x minus 45 is equal to 90 degrees. Now I have to solve this. So again, our goal is to solve for x to get that x all by itself. So I'm first going to add 45 to both sides of the equation. Okay, I'm going to bring down the 5x. The 45s are going to cancel each other out. And then I have to add 90 plus 45, which gives us 135. Okay, last step. I need to get this x all by itself. Right now the x is being multiplied by 5, so I need to do the opposite, which is to divide both sides by 5. Okay, 5x divided by 5 is x, and 135 divided by 5 is 27. So we just figured out that x is equal to 27. But boys and girls, that does not mean we know the measure of these missing angles. That's what we now got to figure out. Okay, so this first angle is equal to 4x minus 45, which I have written in this box here. Well, I now know x is equal to 27. So I need to take that 27 and plug it into this angle where I see x. So I'm going to bring down the 4. Now I'm going to plug in the 27 where I see x and minus 45. Okay, now I need to evaluate this by following the correct order of operations. First, I need to multiply, then I need to subtract. All right, so first we're going to multiply 4 times 27, which is 108, and then we are going to subtract 45. 108 minus 45 gives us 63. So the measure of this missing angle is 63 degrees. So this angle right here, boys and girls, is 63 degrees. Okay, now I need to find the measure of the smaller angle. Well, that angle is equal to 1x. So I now know what x is equal to. It's equal to 27. So instead of writing x, I'm going to write 27. To figure this out, I have to multiply 1 times 27, which gives me 27. So the measure of this angle is 27 degrees. Okay, and guys, you can check to see if you are correct, because remember, together these two angles need to equal 90 degrees. Well, if these two numbers down here, 63 degrees and 27 degrees, equal 90 degrees, you know you did this correct. And 63 plus 27 does in fact equal 90 degrees. And I'm actually going to write that in here so we know we are correct. 63 plus 27 equals 90. So we know we are correct. Okay. Again, guys, now you're going to do the you do example, which again looks very similar to the model example I did in number 3. So please use that model example to help you. All right. Last type of complementary angle we are going to do today is again two complementary angles, or I'm sorry, one angle, one complementary angle with two angles that both have an expression as a value. Okay. So we're going to do the same thing. Remember, both of these angles have to add up to equal 90 degrees. The first angle is equal to 4x plus 16, and the second angle is equal to 6x plus 4. So I'm going to write that out up here. My first angle is 4x plus 16. Then I need to add my second angle, which is 6x plus 4. And that has to equal 90 degrees. So I'm going to fill in this box here. My first angle is right here, which is 4x plus 16. Now I'm adding my second angle, which is 6x plus 4. And that has to equal 90 degrees. All right, so now again, we have a multi-step equation that I need to solve. Our next step is to combine like terms. We're going to take it one set of like terms at a time. I'm going to start with my x terms. 4x and 6x are like terms. Again, I'm looking at the signs in front of them. They're both positive, so I'm adding 4x plus positive 6x, which gives us 10x, okay? But I'm not done. I have more like terms. I have positive 16 and a positive 4. So I'm adding positive 16 plus positive 4, which gives us a positive 20, okay? Now I'm going to solve this two-step equation that we just created. Step 3 is to subtract 20 on both sides, okay? Bring down the 10x. The 20s are going to cancel out. 90 minus 20 is 70, okay? And now my last step is to divide both sides by the number in front of the variable, which is 10. So I'm dividing by 10 on both sides. 10x divided by 10 is x, and 70 divided by 10 is 7. So I now know x is equal to 7. But again, that does not answer our question because our question is to determine the measure of the missing angles. So I know x is equal to 7. The first angle is equal to 4x plus 6. So I'm going to plug 7 into where I see x and then evaluate. Okay, so this should say 4 times 7 plus 16. Take it one step at a time. First, we need to multiply 4 times 7, which gives us 28. And then I need to add 16, and 28 plus 16 is 44. So the measure of that first angle is 44 degrees. Okay, so this angle right here, ABC, is equal to 44 degrees. Now I need to determine the measure of this angle, CBD, which is equivalent to 6x plus 4. So again, instead of writing the variable x, I'm now going to plug in what x equals, which is 7. Okay, and then evaluate. First, we need to multiply 6 times 7, which is 42, and then add 4. 42 plus 4 is 46. So the measure of this angle is 46 degrees. Okay? And again, guys, we can check our work because I know these two angles have to add to be 90 degrees. So let's see. Does 44 plus 46 equal 90? It absolutely does. So we know we are correct. All right. Now, after this one, you guys are going to do the you do example number 6, which again looks like almost identical to the model example we did in number 5. All right, guys, so you have 3 examples to complete on your own. Please make sure that you are using the model examples to help you. And as always, ask me any questions via email or private comment on the assignment if you have any questions. Good luck.